Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching Extraction. Now, Extraction is a oh my goodness. You know what? Last episode I was talking about how I'm fighting a cold. I'm a little sick right now. I'm still fighting it, dude. I'm still getting through it, so just bear with me. I hope I don't cough while I talk here, but Extraction essentially follows Chris Hemsworth's character, and I forget the name of his character, and I literally just watched the movie again. Anyways, I was watching it, and Chris Hemsworth, essentially, he plays an Australian, like, badass, like, super cool, just like a total awesome fighter. He's like SEAL Team 6. He's like unkillable, just like every action movie where the main character is just badass and fights and kills everybody and never dies and like gets beaten up, but not to the point where they can't like move or can't still fight. So anyways, the movie's called Extraction because he has to extract someone from out of, this movie is set in India. And essentially, he has to save some Indian kid from some bad people in India. Like I don't want to say like a gang, but kind of like a Indian mafia, if you will. There's just like some corrupt crime out there, and this boy has to be saved, and Chris Hemsworth has to save him. Now, there's some sort of like emotional backstory that we're supposed to gain from all of this. Is like he has a son, but apparently his son died of something. They kind of give it to us in like some flashbacks and whatnot. Not that it's like a big thing, but they're just trying to establish like, oh, I feel bad for this guy, and him saving the young boy in India is like him trying to protect his own son. There's supposed to be like an emotional connection there. So this movie is directed by I forget the guy's name. Oh my goodness! But apparently he's a stuntman, or used to be like a stunt coordinator, or he did stunts or something like that. He's very action heavy. So this movie is a prime example of when you give a stunt coordinator full you give them the opportunity to make a movie, and this is it, dude. I mean, I could. Whatever. The action in this movie is top notch. It is just, the quality of action. I feel like, I always have that thing where it's like when I watch a movie and I really like care about the characters, or like the fighting is really good, I'm always like, put me in there. I want to get in there. Toss me up in there and I'll fight. I'll help out. You know what I mean? I feel this way in any number of things, but in that particular instance, as I'm watching Chris Hemsworth fight all these people, I'm like, yo, put me in there. I definitely want some of that action. I want to help fight, but knowing that I don't have any skills, or I'd be afraid to kill somebody is kind of wrong for the job. Whereas he has absolutely no problem killing people, especially those kinds of like criminals per se, and he kind of gets away with it all in the end. Well, we'll get to that, and because Dude, they always do this because the story is filmed in a foreign country. Because it's in India, they add like a yellowish tint. They add like they do the stereotypical thing where they put a tint in it or something like that. At least from what I remember, is there's a tint in it. Maybe I was just seeing stuff, but I for sure think there was a tint in there. And then other than that, dude, it's just Chris Hemsworth trying to fight bad guys and escape the city while being hunted down by a bunch of people. And then there's like this teenager who's supposedly like the next up and coming person to like take over for like, or he's like the next in line, or not even the next in line. He's just like a low level grunt. He's just a small part of the equation of like the mafia. so for lack of a better word, he's part of this whole thing, and we kind of watch him go from like low level grunt to fighting Chris Hemsworth, and we kind of see like this whole story play out where he tries to be like this big boss, or like he's, I'm not gonna say he's like the big antagonist, but he's like a portion of it. You know what I mean? He's like a side evil character that, we kind of have to like see grow into it or something like that. But essentially the way that it works is the boy gets kidnapped or the boy gets taken by somebody, and he is to be held for ransom or executed or whatever. I forget exactly. But he's supposed to be held there, and then Chris Hemsworth, out of nowhere, out of the blue, shows up and he saves the boy, murders a bunch of people to get to him. And then after he murders all of those people, he has to get the boy out. So it's this constant battle of, I have to protect the boy, but I also have to fight and be in danger. So he has to constantly like, stay back here, wait for me, on my call, go. Stay where I can see you, don't run. Come back here. He has to save the boy. He grabs him, he pulls. He's battling a bunch of other guys. It's some amazing shots, amazing choreography and fight sequences. I mean, very, very... It can't be expressed enough how awesome the action in this movie is. But essentially, after he gets through like the beginning portion, which is like, in itself, if I talk big, like, yo, put me in there. But if I went through what that guy went through, and then I had to like still keep on going, I probably wouldn't keep on going, dude. I definitely would have stopped. But adrenaline and obviously some crazy exercises and strength will get you through a lot. And obviously survival. You want to survive. So, you know what? Maybe, put me in there. I definitely could do it. But anyways, he gets through it and he saves the boy. And then there's like this kind of the major boss, somewhat. And I'm not talking like, necessarily of the mafia. I'm talking about just like a soldier who is on equal fighting level as Chris Hemsworth, which is like, all right, whatever. But that's the way that the story kind of plays it out. And he gets away. Chris Hemsworth gets away, and he and the boy have to go into hiding. Now, as they're hiding, they have to get patched up. They have to like take time, and then that's when they start to do the real sappy thing. The sappy thing where like the kid who you just saved isn't grateful that you just saved him, and instead he has to be like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you protecting me? Why are you saving me?" And Chris Hemsworth is like, "That's the job, kid. Like, I'm just here to save you." He's not like, he doesn't really care about the kid, but the kid is like, well, thank you for saving me or helping me or doing whatever it is that you're doing. And then then they form like some immediate close bond, like, all right, whatever, kid, keep doing what you're doing. And then, Chris Hemsworth also has some help from like the people who brought him in on the job, but he has their help to kind of guide him out and then like escape. Essentially, they're his escape team. So after going through some gruesome battling, it enters into the nighttime, and during the nighttime, that's when everybody's on watch alert. They have to catch him and they have to bring him down now. So then it becomes a nighttime battle. Chris Hemsworth has to fight in the night. He has to stay up. He's already badly injured. He has to like figure out a way to stop these people. He fights the teenagers, and those are the ones that I don't know if he kills them all or like he kind of like breaks their bones or does whatever, but he messes them up, all right? He fights, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to survive here. But the nighttime slowly becomes morning. And in the morning, that's when all of the problems come through. So in the morning, he now has to take this kid and he has to get him. He has to drive him to some location outside of the city or wherever he is, and get him to a helicopter. And by getting him to the helicopter, then they can, escort him away to the boy to safety. And in the midst of all this, a bunch of things go wrong. I mean, I think there was an attempt to escape on a boat. I don't remember exactly, even though I did just watch it. I literally did just watch this movie, but I don't remember if there was like a boat escape or if somebody was like planning to get on the boat or if there was like something like that. Maybe I'm yeah, I think I'm thinking of a different movie. What am I thinking about? Anyways, long story short, he's taken the boy. He survived this long, all right? And everybody's okay. There's a car chase, I think, in the morning, or maybe it was before that. But in the morning, he has to just drive and keep the kid alive for as long as possible. And then finally, they make it to this bridge, right? They make it to this bridge, and he takes the kid, gives him to his friends or his partners to escape, and then as he's about to escape, boom, he gets shot. And who shot him? It's that teenage boy who we saw, like, just the low-level grunt that we didn't really care about, and he makes a comeback. He makes it through. And because of that, he dies. He dies at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. Oops. Gosh, I always forget. To tell you guys, but spoiler alert. That guy dies, but he, it's not like like an evil death. It's not like my life was robbed. It's more of like a sad, somber, but like fulfilling yet, peaceful death where it's like he envisions his boy, like his son, and he kind of like, I'm finally going to be in heaven with you, my son. That's the kind of vibe this gives off, and he saved the other kid. So it's kind of like a full circle moment, He couldn't save his real son, but he could save this Indian son that he has adopted of sorts. And in doing so, he has he can die with peace or with some sort of fulfillment, with some sort of, accomplishment in his goal and doing what he wants to do. And so that's where the story ends. That's basically where the story ends. And I have to say, dude, first of all, that kid should have died. No, I mean, the kid was, he was all right. You know what I'm saying? Just, I guess as a character, he's just like an innocent kid, innocent boy, just trying to live life. He doesn't deserve to be attacked. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, dude. I feel like that failure would have been on the, maybe it should have been like maybe it shouldn't have been like the kid dies, but maybe like the kid gets brutally injured and we don't know what happens. Or we like, you know what I'm saying? Like something bad happens to the kid. I don't think he should get away kind of like unharmed. Or does he? I just feel like in that particular in this movie, it would be a lot more like impactful if after everything they've been through together, the boy gets shot and killed. But instead they kill the main guy, and then, dude, you're not gonna believe this. As I'm recording this, there's an Extraction 2. Okay, there's an Extraction 2, and I don't even wanna, I think it's like a prequel, or maybe it's like a, dude, I don't even know. But spoiler alert, if you haven't watched either of them. But first of all, this one, I don't know how, military in Australia does business, or like what the super secret spy people of the world really do, right? Like, I don't know what the CIA, the FBI, the Secret Service, like, I have no idea what their actual, I have no idea what they're doing in their life, you know what I mean? And it probably is full of danger, something like that, where maybe people have to be extracted or protected or saved. But to do that much damage, I mean, just the level. And you know what? Not a lot of it gets reported. There's a lot of things that don't get reported on the news. There's a lot of things that go over our heads or that gets paid to not be aired on the news. I wouldn't be surprised. This as absurd and as crazy as this movie is, with the action, with the fight scenes, with everything that goes on, like guns, explosions, massacres, full dead bodies all over the floor. As much as I think about it, that would go so far and above all of our heads that we would just be like, yeah, there's just another day, whatever. I just, if this movie was in real life, like if this movie was, I don't think it is based on real life. Obviously, I don't think one man could do the job all by himself. But I'm just saying for practicality, if this was done in real life, pretty realistic if I have to be honest. I felt the effects were actually really decent. And obviously, if Chris Hemsworth is fighting a bunch of people, one man against a whole like army or group of thugs, I guess, or something like that, it's not a bad guess to suggest that Chris Hemsworth would win. Especially that Australian trained military type. I don't think that'd be such a terrible guess. But where it does get a little shaky is, he goes through so much and he lives to tell the tale. Well, no, he doesn't live. He dies in the end. But you know what I'm saying, right? And it's kind of like, it's, I don't want to say it's like sports, but you know how, like, maybe you watch football and then that one time you have one chance, you have to have like total faith, or like you have to trust in your strength in that one moment to like throw the ball, catch the ball, play defense. Like, so many things are happening that you kind of have to think to yourself, like, in this one moment, it all comes down to this. In this one moment, it's life or death, or it's win or lose. Game is on the line. And for this movie, it just kind of feels like you have to believe in your training at the end of it all. And dude, they shoot their guns like point blank in his face, near his ear, right? He just shoots his gun like casually, like it's not loud. And then I don't see any, ear. Maybe he does have an earpiece, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. That thing is loud. That thing is going boom, and it's just. There's no way he gets out of that without being deaf. Like I don't see it. But what I'm trying to say is that he has to have strength in that one moment, and you don't know if you're like. There could be anything that could go wrong in that moment. There are any number of situations that go wrong. Like, imagine if he had a tummy ache, right? Like, imagine if he had explosive diarrhea, and his stomach is like really hurting, and he's like, oh gosh, now I have to save this kid. And then he has to like fight all these guys all at the one time. And then like he's like leaking out of his pants. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, you don't know. You don't know what you're going to have to face, what kind of challenges you're going to have to take on. But for this guy, it's just, perfect conditions. They make it like perfect conditions, and that like There's nothing that could go wrong. So at the beginning, that's where he starts off real strong and real powerful. And then as you progress, obviously he gets hurt more and more and more. He gets stabbed in the arm. Maybe he gets like a broken leg or something. You know, his toe gets stabbed or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why they do all of that. So that way they increase the stakes a little bit. They make it a little bit harder. At the beginning, he survived. But at what cost? Oh, he got stabbed or shot in the arm. Well, they got to remove it, and now there's a little bit of time for dialogue between the characters to build emotion and connection. It's like, come on. Strength, it just has to be in that one moment. And in that one moment, there are any number of circumstances that could just go against you. That's why it's kind of crazy to think about, like, people who could actually do that in real life. But I digress. This movie had me on the edge of my seat. And let me just clarify. I wasn't rooting for the kid to get shot. I don't want the kid to die. I was just saying, like, and, you know, they kill the main character off, and I grew attached to that guy because he's so cool, and he protects his kid, and his son died. Like, I feel like it would be a lot sadder or like a little bit more impactful if he failed again, you know, emotionally for him than it is for him to like succeed, but then he dies. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of feels like the kid dying is actually beneficial, because then obviously they do another Extraction movie, and the next Extraction movie, he'll be more wanting to win. Does that make sense? So, all in all, I feel like this movie definitely delivers on the action. There are any number of moments that I could like say are the top fight sequences of it all. Like, I think they do like a couple of one shots, or like they do one shot. I'm pretty certain of, but they do this fight in the street, and it's between Chris Hemsworth and like the other bad guy who's like on par with him, and they're fighting in the street. And they've both just fallen from the roof, and they both land on like a truck or like whatever, right? And they're in the street, and now they're fighting each other. And that sequence of fighting, dude, was amazing. And it's also like the point in the story where like the action is now one-on-one, and it's not so much like Chris Hemsworth versus a whole like platoon of guys out of nowhere. So instead of him fighting 6 people, it's now one person. And then instead of killing that one person, he just beats them up, and then they both escape injured, but nobody is a clear victor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one of those beginning fights where nobody wins, just so that way they can come back later and fight again. And then it's like a decisive victory. Yeah, I just feel like there's certain moments in the movie where I'm kind of not like I don't want to say it, happy, you know, because people are getting killed. You know what I'm saying? People are dying right in front of my eyes. But there's certain satisfying moments when he just like beats up and kills people. Like, there's just some cool moments. So overall, watching this movie, when you're watching Extraction, be prepared for some badass action. Be prepared for some Indian kid who's kind of nice. You know, he's sweet enough. Be prepared for some evil. And most importantly, be prepared for I was gonna say action again. That's not what I want to say. Be prepared for some high quality entertainment. You know, it's gonna be right at your lap. This is kind of, the action on here is actually kind of on par with well, a lot of people say like you know, big action movies like John Wick, I would say Mission Impossible, but those stunts are completely like they're two different lanes. I feel the Mission Impossible stunts and the Extraction stunts are very different. One is very choreographed action and gun set, work. That's more of like hand to hand combat fighting, and Mission Impossible does have that, but I feel like it's not at certain levels. Like, Mission Impossible involves all kinds of different stunts. Like they do cliff, rock climbing. They do, what else is there? They do driving stunts. Well, they also have that in this movie too. But I'm just trying to say, like, they do helicopter stuff in Mission Impossible, and in this movie, there's not like any of that. It's more ground and fight, guns, explosions, stuff like that. So it's on par with that. So if you like movies like action movies, like maybe like a Rambo or what's that one movie, The Expendables? They have I don't want to say Fast and Furious because that's on a different level. That's on a different scale. But I'm trying to say like John Wick, Mission Impossible, that kind of stuff, that kind of action-packed story. This is the movie for you. And when you're watching it, just be ready for some awesome action. And other than that, that's kind of it. But we'll be back to talk about Extraction 2 because I have no idea. Well, I kind of have some idea, but I don't know if it's like present or past or like where it fits into the whole story. So, anyways, I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you so much for listening and take care. Bye. Oh, and thank you for listening. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you.